Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Jay, and today I wanted to talk about Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish, a sequel to a movie that's a spin-off of the Shrek franchise. Sometimes side characters don't work very well as a main character when given the spotlight for their own stories, but that isn't really the case with Puss in Boots. He's a pretty well-rounded character that works well for a lead, and both films are pretty solid. This series approaches its storytelling different from the regular Shrek franchise. Shrek's a lot more tongue-in-cheek, and often mocks the fairy tales that it references, especially since it was heavily inspired by Katzenberg's dramatic fallout with Disney, but these movies tend to play fairy tales more straight. It's definitely a darker take on fairy tales, like Goldilocks and the Three Bears are a crime family, but the films lack that mocking tone, which I personally appreciate. I really like fairy tales and fairy tale retellings, and this was a really fun and honestly heartwarming experience. You don't actually have to watch the first Puss in Boots movie to enjoy this one. They're standalone stories, and other than them introducing some of the characters in the first movie, there's enough here where you can get a good sense of who they are and their personality, even if you haven't seen the original. That includes the Shrek movies too, and it's cool that it was easy to get into. I'm going to be avoiding major plot spoilers, but there may be some minor spoilers for themes and other such things, so if you don't want any spoilers, make sure to come back after you've watched the movie. I would definitely recommend it, it's a fun time. The main plot revolves around Puss. Since he's a cat, he has 9 lives, but he's been pretty reckless with them, basically seeing himself as immortal, and before he realizes it, he ends up on his last life. He also manages to get on Death's bad side. Death here is personified as a wolf, and he doesn't like the idea of cats having 9 lives, which I guess I can understand, but he also really doesn't like Puss being so arrogant and careless with his lives. He finds it pretty offensive, and despite the fact that Puss still has 1 life left, he's willing to take him now, which is pretty rude all things considered. But Puss decides to retire and hide from Death in what is essentially a cat retirement home. While there, he meets a dog that's disguised as a cat, cause things are tough on the streets, so he gets free food here. He ends up becoming Puss's sidekick, much to Puss's dismay, since he finds him annoying. But he's honestly really cute, and extremely positive despite the fact that he's had a terrible life, but he doesn't seem totally aware of that. Eventually, Puss gets wrapped up in the search for the wishing star, which multiple people are after for multiple reasons, including Puss's old flame Kitty Softpaws, and Puss realizes he can use it to wish for more lives, so now he also has a horse in this race. So he teams up with Kitty and the dog, who at this point doesn't have a name, but they call him Purrrfect, and they go on an adventure through the dark woods to find the wishing star, where they're forced to face their inner demons, and also what is basically a literal demon since Death is constantly stalking Puss the entire time. They're also pursued by Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and a grown-up version of Little Jack Horner. Both are after the wish for their own purposes, and Horner plays as the main villain. He's actually pretty menacing. He has absolutely no regard for anyone but himself, including his minions, who he views as completely disposable, and it actually gets pretty brutal. Like, this is a kid's movie, guys, but I guess they really wanted to sell him as a villain. The Goldilocks crime family ended up being more wholesome than I was expecting, which was a nice surprise, and I really liked the overall message that you don't need magic to make your wishes come true. The animation was really good and interesting. It reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse, but felt like it was playing into more of a storybook setting instead of a comic book setting, which works well for these characters. Overall, it's really enjoyable, and I'm glad they gave Puss his own spin-off series. It seemed like the ending was alluding to more Shrek content, like a Shrek 5 or maybe another Puss movie but with Shrek in it. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of Shrek, and I definitely prefer Puss in Boots, but I guess it's interesting to see where they're gonna take this franchise. But that's my opinion. What do you guys think? How do you feel about these spin-off movies? Is there another character you'd like to see get their own movie? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our channel's members: Stutania, Tyrant Carnivore, Adam K, Shiny Orc Boy, The Rabbit Mancer, General Bolivar, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Sandy Martin, Verdant Range, Butcher7 Actual, JVR, HussyMan42, Nixel, Eric Griffin, Bill C, Taylor Ramirez, Caleb Nelson, Bandito Bane, Dakari the Professor, Equestron, Owen Wildish, Norman Sweetcream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Garcia, XV Legend, Hunter Rose, and Lil. Thank you all so much for your support, and if you'd like to support the channel as a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this content, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, and that part's free. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.